A question about the title of the show is The Atheist Experience.
Yes.
But, I don't watch it regularly, but I do catch it periodically, probably. And I always hear anti-Christian rhetoric.
Okay.
I don't hear any other anti-religion rhetoric. And it seems like the show is really more about anti-Christianity than atheism per se.
Yeah. Well, the main reason that we usually focus a lot on Christianity is just because that's what this country mostly is.
Those are the ones that are in power, and those are the ones that
Exactly.
are in the majority right now, and those are the ones that are trying to enforce their morals on everybody else right now.
Exactly.
I mean, you're not seeing, Buddhists going out and trying to, actively convert other people to Buddhism, and you're not seeing Buddhists go out and say, listen, I think that, thus and such should be a law because it's part of, my belief system. It's mostly, and as, like you said, part of the atheist experience, a lot of what we experience in our daily lives comes from this sort of interaction.
Right.
That
Okay,
doesn't mean...
but won't you concede that is an extremist minority who are pushing those, and that it is possible
I would
to
agree
be Christian and not adhere to the extremist view of it?
I would agree with you in the sense that it's mostly the extremists who are getting out there and promoting it and saying we need to do this and ban gay rights and so on and so on. The problem is with the vast majority of Christians who don't say anything about it. That's the big problem that I have.
And go ahead and vote for this kind of stuff anyway, because they feel like, not only do they feel like they should, but the way our government is running right now, the way they structure things is like, if you vote against this person, you are voting against God. If you vote against this law, you are voting against God. And if you vote against this amendment, you're going to go straight to hell. So you may not agree with his politics, but you want to vote for him anyway because God chose him. You know?
The Christians aren't out there as much as I would like to see them. Disagree, for as often as they call us and say, yeah, we disagree with XYZ policy as much as you do, as much as we hear about that, we don't see all that many out there actually taking a stand to go up to, the leaders in power or the main Christians and, going up against Pat Robertson and saying, I'm sorry, you do not speak for me. Right. I do not think that gays should be thrown out of the country or, whatever the tirade of the week is.
Sure. Yeah, and I'm with you on that. But I think it was Karen was commenting about a Chi symbol that she was wearing around her neck a while ago. Chi. Mm-hmm. And it got me to thinking, and we exchanged a few emails a few months ago about how can you be Jewish and an atheist? And can you?
Or are you asking me?
That's a question.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a question. I didn't realize that was a question. Sorry. Well, to me, Judaism is not my religion. It is my cultural heritage. To me, my bloodline, everybody in my bloodline on both sides of my family was Jewish. It's a heritage that was passed down to me. Much like if you were... I frequently equivalent it to if you are African American. Being African is not considered a religion, but it does have its own history. It has its own clothing style. It has its own food, its own dance style, its own music style. It is a culture. And to me, that's what Judaism is.
What it comes across as is that my religion is good, yours is bad.
Okay, but did you not just hear me say that Judaism isn't my religion? I don't view Judaism as a religion. I know that there are several different kinds of Judaism.
So it's an ethnicity, and you don't necessarily embrace everything verbatim that is in the Torah, et cetera, et cetera. Is that fair?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Well, why can't Christians enjoy that same luxury? Why can't moderate Christians embrace their culture and their heritage that's 2,000 years old?
They can.
Compared to...
And
Judaism, which is 3,000 to 4,000 to 5,000, however you want to define it, yet not believe literally everything that's in the Bible.
Sure they can. And when they do, I know a lot of Christians that are good people, and I've seen it used in its purest form for good. And as a hospice social worker, I've seen the value of how God can just create hope and comfort in people's lives. And I respect that when it's used that way. But what I don't respect is when people force it upon other people, when people shove it down other people's throats, when people create laws that influence everybody around them towards something that has to do with a personal belief system, and when people make it as public as they do. I mean, I think religion should be a private thing, and it should be a personal choice. It should be a matter of personal choice, and it shouldn't be if you don't. And I think that's what our country was based on. I think our country was based on we want everybody to have the freedom to believe what they want to believe. But no, the way it's done in this country is this is what I believe, and therefore I'm going to enforce a law that forces everybody else in this country to follow my personal belief system.
In general, like say, if Christians out there want to have their beliefs and their culture and their ideas, that's perfectly fine. It's just where they start encroaching on other people's lives that we take issue. And we do, again, recognize that it is mostly the vocal minority who is proposing that.
And by wearing a chai around my neck, I'm not in any way enforcing my religion upon or my personal belief systems upon anybody else.
Okay, well, that's fair enough.
In fact, most people that see it don't even realize it's a chai. Most people think it's either a camel, a dog, a horse, or a machine gun. Or a pi symbol. In Austin, I get a pi symbol a lot.
Yeah. Well, what I'm hearing then from you a lot is the big issue of separation of church and state.
Yes, exactly.
Which is fine, but I think if you're going to title your show The Atheist Experience, you have to be equal opportunity atheists. Does that make any sense?
We have to what?
Equal opportunity atheists. That is, if you're going to disparage the notion of
and we do, like say, if there are stories that come up talking about how the Muslims are doing that, or the Baha'is are doing that, or the Scientologists. They're all
we've done Scientologists. We've done whole shows on Scientology.
Yeah, I mean, if other groups come up and they are doing something, we'll get on them pretty hard too.
But is Judaism off limits? Is it taboo?
No, Judaism's not off limits. No. And I told you, maybe in the future, just so it feels fair, I will go into the whole Judaism versus Palestine issue. I'll dedicate a whole show to that. I'll go ahead and put that on the calendar. Write that down, Ashley. But the thing is, as the atheist experience, it is our experience, and in our experience, what we run up against most in our lives as an issue of what adds to our experience or what infringes our personal liberties, or just what we experience usually turns out to be Christianity, because Christianity is the overwhelming majority. We do see stories in the news about crazy things that Islamics do, and crazy things that about the girl that her family married her to a dog to break an omen, but those come up a lot less often.
Yeah, no, and that's fair, and I agree with you guys. I am an atheist, but I guess the only thing that if there was a point of my call, was that just I think the notion of theism in general can be dangerous, particularly when it's misappropriated, and when politicians start talking about God's will and things.
Absolutely,
I get chills down my spine because something bad's about to happen. Yeah. So. I'm with you on it. I just would ask that you be consistent and I understand your point that America is by and large a Christian nation, quote unquote. So I would expect a disproportionate amount of criticism towards that.
And if you've had other experiences, hey, I invite you to come to dinner and join our group and talk about your experiences. And one day, if you get to know us well enough, come on the show and talk about your experiences that are more general than just, slamming Christians, because that's not what our goal is.